بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
We tend to think of the devil, Satan, as a being of pure cold arrogance. We imagine him laughing as he leads humanity astray. We imagine him sitting on his throne, confident, proud, and untouched by emotion. He is the sworn enemy who promised to lie and wait for us on the straight path. He is the one who said, I am better than him. But what if I told you that there is one specific action, one specific moment in your life that breaks him completely? What if I told you that you have the power right now to make the devil curl up in a corner and cry? This is not a metaphor. This is a reality described by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. There is a secret weapon in the Quran. It is not a whole chapter. It is not a long prayer. It is a specific type of verse. And when you interact with this verse in the right way, you inflict a spiritual blow on Shaitan that devastates him. This is the hidden power of Sujood, at-Tilawah, the prostration of recitation. To understand why this act hurts him so much, we have to go back to the very beginning, to the moment the war started before he was the devil. He was a bliss. He was a worshipper. He was elevated among the angels. But inside his heart, there was a disease waiting to manifest, the disease of Khyber pride. When Allah created Adam, peace be upon him, he gave a single command to the entire heavenly assembly. He did not command them to fight. He did not command them to build. He commanded them to prostrate, to make sujood prostrate to Adam. It was a test of obedience. It was a test of humility. The angels, beings of pure light and submission, fell down immediately. They didn't ask why. They didn't compare themselves to Adam. They heard the command of their Lord and they obeyed. But last, he stood still. He looked at Adam made of sticky clay, and he looked at himself made of smokeless fire. And his logic kicked in, his ego in. I am better than him. He said, you created me from fire and him you created from earth. He refused the sujood, and in that refusal, he sealed his eternal fate. He was cursed. He was expelled. He was promised hellfire. All because he refused to put his forehead on the ground in submission to Allah's command. That moment haunts him. It is the trauma of his existence. It is the memory of his failure. And this is where you come in. Fast forward thousands of years. You are a human being. You are the son of Adam. You are made of the same clay that last despised. You are weak, you forget, you sin. But then you open the Quran. You begin to recite and you come across a specific verse. A verse where Allah commands the believers to prostrate, or a verse that describes the prostration of the righteous. There are 15 of these verses scattered throughout the Quran. They are like spiritual landmines for the devil. When you read one of these verses, for example, in Surah Sajdah or Surah Alaq or the end of Surah Najm, you have a choice. You can keep reading. You can ignore it or you can stop. You can say Allahu Akbar and you can drop to the floor. You can put your forehead on the ground purely out of submission to the verse you just read. Do you know what happens in the unseen world at that exact moment? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, pulled back the curtain and told us exactly what happens. He said, when the son of Adam recites a verse of prostration and he prostrates, Shaitan withdraws. He doesn't just leave, he withdraws. He isolates himself. He goes into a corner and he weeps. Imagine that image. The arrogant enemy of humanity, the one who whispers in your ear with such confidence, is now in a corner weeping uncontrollably. And he screams. He cries out in regret. He says, woe to me. The son of Adam was commanded to prostrate, and he prostrated so he will have paradise. I was commanded to prostrate and I refused, so I will have the hellfire. This is why Sujood at-Tilawah is so powerful. It is the ultimate reenactment of the test. When you prostrate, you are doing exactly what he failed to do. You are succeeding where he failed. You are proving him wrong. He said, I am better than him. But when you put your face in the dust for Allah, you are proving that you are better. Not because of what you are made of, but because of your obedience. Every time you perform this sujood, You are holding a mirror up to lust and forcing him to look at his own arrogance. You are reminding him of the paradise he lost and the paradise you are gaining. It is psychological torture for him. And the most amazing part, it is a sauna. It is not mandatory like the 5 daily prayers. If you miss it, you don't get a sin. But that makes it even more painful for him. Because when you do it, you are doing it out of pure love. You are doing it because you want to submit. You are rushing to do the very thing he was too proud to do. There is a famous story from the time of the Prophet that shows the physical power of these verses. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was reciting Surah An-Najm in Mecca. He was reciting it in front of the Kaaba, in front of a mixed crowd of believers and the fiercest enemies of Islam, the polytheists of Quraysh. These were men who hated him, men who wanted to kill him, men who mocked the Quran daily. But Surah Najm is powerful. It builds and builds, mesmerizing the listener until it reaches the very final verse. So prostrate to Allah and worship. The Prophet, peace be upon him, immediately fell into sujood, and something incredible happened. The power of the verse was so overwhelming. The command was so direct that everyone in the gathering, the believers and the disbelievers, fell into sujood. Even the enemies of Islam found their foreheads on the ground. They couldn't help themselves. The fitra inside them recognized the command of the Creator, even if their arrogant minds fought against it. That is the power you hold in your hands when you hold the Quran. But today we have neglected this weapon. How many of us rush through our recitation? We see the little symbol in the margin of the Quran that indicates a sujood, and we just keep going. We think I'll do it later, or it's not fired. We are walking past a loaded weapon that could devastate our enemy, and we are leaving it on the ground. There are 15 places in the Quran, 15 opportunities to make Sham cry. Surah Allah, Surah Arad, Surah An-Nail, Surah Allah. Surah Maryam, Surah Hajj, Surah Al-Furqan, Surah and normal Surah As-Datat, Surah Halan, Shieke, Surah Alaq. These are the stations of victory. So how do you do it? It is simple. Simplicity is part of its beauty. You do not need to be in a full state of prayer. You do not need to stand up and say takbir. You simply pause your recitation. Face the Qibla. If you can say Allahu Akbar and go down, and while you are down there, you say glory is to my Lord the Most High. Or you can say the beautiful dua that the Prophet used to say, my face is prostrated to the one who created it and fashioned it and brought forth its hearing and seeing by his might and power. Blessed be Allah, the best of creators. Then you rise. No taslim, no salam. You just go back to your Quran and continue reading. It takes 10 seconds. But in those 10 seconds, you have earned a house in paradise and you have sent your enemy running to a corner to weep over his loss. We often feel helpless against the whispers of Shaitan. We feel like he is constantly attacking us, constantly winning, constantly making us slip. We forget that we have the power to strike back. The next time you are reading the Quran and you see that mark, do not skip it. Stop. Realize what moment this is. Realize that the command that broke the heavens and the earth is facing you right now. Take that opportunity. Drop to the ground and know that as your forehead touches the dust in humility, your status is being raised in the heavens and the arrogance of your enemy is being crushed into the earth. Make him weep. Make him realize that the son of Adam is not like him. We hear and we obey.